Hi, this is Will from Unique Capture. In this tutorial what we're going to do is take a picture and see if we can't make it look a little bit like a 1940s stroke 1950s pinup style. Before we start, I want to make sure that you can see all the various menus that I can see here in order that you can follow this through. So what I need you to do is go to the Windows menu, and the first one to click on is the channels. We click on that, that brings up this channels palette here. Back to Windows, make sure we bring up the layers. Clicking on that, make sure we can see the layers. Now we see layers and channels on these two tabs. And in addition, come down here, these ones will stay checked. Make sure you've got a tick next to Tools, Options and Application Bar. That means that we can see all these tools and the various bits and pieces across here that we're going to use during this particular tutorial. I've got a particular picture open here. What I've done before this tutorial started was I've actually cleaned all the background out to white, removed all the residual bits and pieces from the original shot. If you want to see how to do that, there's another tutorial that's associated with making white backgrounds properly white, and I recommend you take a look at that. However, let's start with the pinup style. The first thing to do, as I do in all my all my editing procedures, is I'm going to make a copy of this background layer. I'm on a Mac, so that's going to be a Command J. On a PC, that will be a Control J. So with this background layer selected, I'm going to do my Command J, and you'll see that pops up a brand new layer. The first step in this particular process now is going to be to go to our filter menu. From filter, I'm going to select blur. I'm going to come down and I'm going to select a surface blur. In this case, I'm going to select a radius of 9 and a threshold of 15. Don't worry about what these terms mean. This is purely a tutorial to get an effect going, if you will. And you can see here, if we move around, we've actually really blurred this out to almost like a painting type feel. If we click OK on there, that will now apply that effect to this particular picture. The next step is to start looking at how we're going to turn this a little bit of a sort of sepia colour, and to do that I'm going to adjust my foreground colour to a particular colour I want to be able to get hold of throughout this process. So to do that, if I click on this area here, this is the foreground colour, this is the background colour. If I just click on here, that brings up this palette here. For this particular exercise, I want you to make sure that this box here is not checked, and then I want you to go into the red, green, blue boxes. Start with the red box. If we just highlight that and set that to 162, highlight the green box, set that to 138, highlight the blue box and set that to 101. You can see now we've got something of a sort of browny, sort of sepia-y type of colour. So I'm just going to click on there. That sets that foreground colour now to what you might consider to be perhaps a bit of a sepia type colour. Now then, the next step is to do another Control or Command J. That gives us this. The next bit, just follow along. Don't worry too much about what it's doing. Just follow along with me. I need you to click on this Channels tab, and then with your mouse over the RGB layer in the Channels tab, I want you to hold the Control key or the Command key on the Mac and do a left click. This selects what's called a luminosity selection. Back to the Layers menu, and with this top layer selected, on the Mac do a Command J, on the PC do a Control J. That'll stamp it in there for us, just that selection. What I now need you to do is go to the Edit menu, select Fill, select from this menu here, select Foreground Color, and select the blending mode to be Color. Click OK. That's now just painted the bit we selected in with the foreground colour. Finally, on this particular bit, I want you to change this up here, this blending mode, down to colour, and you can see we're starting to get a bit of a sepia tone going on with our picture. Right, the next thing I need you to do is to move down to the layer below the one we currently have selected, select it, do a Command J on the Mac or a Control J on the PC to make a copy layer. The copy layer will be the one automatically selected. I now need you to do a left click and hold on that layer, and with your mouse just push it above the layer, the top layer, so it appears right on the top of the stack there. Now what I need you to do is to set that blending mode to multiply, and now we get a sort of a dark sort of effect because this layer has now affected the one below. Because it's a little on the dark side, I want you to go up to the image menu, adjustment, select brightness, and what I want to do now is I want to push the brightness of this layer up quite a lot. So keep going. Yeah, we're going to get up to around about, probably around about that, say, well, convenience sake, 111, and click OK. What I want to do now is I'm going to create a new layer based on combining all of these layers, but I don't want to flatten this whole thing. I want to create a new layer that's combined with all these things. So the way to do that, on the Mac it's Command Alt Shift E. On a PC it's Control Alt Shift E. So with this layer selected, I'm going to do a Command Alt Shift E. And you can see that's now created me a brand new layer. And that layer represents all of these layers completely combined together. Right, with this new layer created and selected, I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Shadows and Highlights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the highlights down, in my case, to around about 10, and I'm going to bring the shadows up to around about 10. So it all brightens things up and protects the highlights a little bit, and click OK. Right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a Command J on the PC, Command J on the Mac, Control J on the PC. Creates me a new layer. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill this with a colour that starts to give us a bit more of an authentic oldie-worldy feel, if you will. So I'm going to go to Edit, Fill. Again, I'm going to select this foreground colour that we've already got set. And this time I'm going to select my blend mode to normal, not colour as we had before. Click OK. And now it puts us this a fairly blocky sort of colour in. Now to add a little bit more authenticity, I'm going to go to Filter. I'm going to go to Noise and add some noise. I'm going to go for monochromatic noise, i.e. sort of 2 colours, not a whole bunch of colours, because that would be just a little bit distracting, I think. Make it uniform, and I'm going to set in this case to around about 10. You can adjust this up and down to suit yourself, but I'm going to go for around about 10 in this case. Click OK. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the blend mode of this layer now to multiply. That'll enable us to see some of this picture coming through from below. Now with this blocked in layer selected, if you will, the filled in layer, I'm going to go to Filter and select Lens Correction. When this comes up from these tabs here, I want you to select Custom. Don't worry about all the bits and pieces in here, but just come down to the bit that says Vignette and the mount. Grab the little slider there and just pull that off to the left. Slide it off to the left there, and that's going to bring us in a little bit of a darkening of the corners, and then click OK. And now we'll apply that to that layer, and we should see the effect in a moment. Right, what I'm going to do now is I want to change the colours a little tiny bit of the model, blending a little bit with the background. So I'm going to come down from this top layer here and select one below. I'm then going to go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. Now I'm going to be a little bit selective about what colours I play with now, and by going to this menu here, and first of all I'm going to select the yellows, and I'm going to slide the saturation slider right down here to about here, somewhere like that. Before I click OK, I'm going to go back to this menu. I'm going to select the reds. I'm going to push the reds up to around about, let's see, about 30 in this case, and I'm going to click OK. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do what we did a little bit earlier. I'm going to combine some of these layers into a brand new layer, but I don't want to have this this layer here, this blocked in layer, involved in that. So I'm just going to switch that off, select the layer just below it, and on the Mac I'm going to do Command Alt Shift E to create that layer. On the PC, of course, that is Control Alt Shift E. Right, with that new layer created, what we can do is turn this this painted in, blocked in layer back on. But with this layer below still selected, I want to change the colours of the subject, the model here, a little bit to make it stand out from the background just a bit. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Colour Balance, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the red cyan slider here. Remember to have the preserve luminosity box checked and the midtones box checked. And this top slider here, red cyan, I'm going to grab that and slide it off to the left to around about here, say about -38. I'm going to leave the green magenta alone. I'm going to take the blue yellow and I'm going to move that up to about there, say about 17. I'm going to click OK. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to select this background layer because I want to change its color as well a little bit. With this blocked in layer selected, again, image, adjustments, and color balance. With the same settings again, I'm going to grab this top one, and all I'm going to do now is going to slide that down a little bit to about there, just to change the colors of that a little bit, and I'm going to click OK on that. Having seen what that's just done, I'm actually going to go back to the bottom layer, image, adjustments, color balance, and I'm going to bring the reds up just a little bit on her skin there, just to a little bit around about there. Right, the final step here, just to complete the authenticity of this, is to add a little bit of writing, very much in the old Pinup style. So you need to come across here, grab the text tool. Now, currently our foreground color is this sepia brown sort of color. I'm looking really to have a sort of black writing now, so I'm just going to hit D on the keyboard. That sets my foreground to black and my background to white. I'm going to click in here. This sets me up with a typing window essentially. And from the drop-down menu just here, I'm going to select the font I want, which in this case is going to be Lucida handwriting. You get an example next to it. You can set your font size here. Let's set that up to about 48 or so, something like that. And I'm just going to type in here. Let's try and think of something to say. Again, nothing like a dime, something like that. And you can adjust the whatever you want. Oops, maybe I'll get that in the right place. You can adjust how you want these to be. Click on the selection tool here, the moving tool, sorry. And then with that, with this text layer selected, you can go to Edit, Free Transform, and then if you get this adjustment box, and as you come out here, it'll turn to this rotation symbol. You can just grab that, rotate it around a little bit, and bring it round, and then you can just click on here and apply, and that's it. That is pretty much as far as I wanted to go with this particular Pinup conversion. I hope you enjoyed that and you find it useful, and we look forward to seeing you on the next tutorial.